It's like this urban folklore, this inner city folklore.
When you throw sneakers up, no one really knows where they're from.
It's something that's been in our faces ever since we've been born.
And then the next, they're occupied by a pair of, sneakers.
People wonder why, in God's name, would anyone do this? It's just a mystery. You look up and you're like, why are there shoes up there?
It doesn't matter, what neighborhood you're in. It can be rich, it can be poor. They all have power lines, and they all often have sneakers hanging over wires.
I always look around when I travel and see, sneakers hanging from different telephone wires. And
they just seem to suggest themselves to each other. It sort of presents itself as a canvas or a blank slate for ideas and for people to project reasons onto it.
Welcome to the Mystery of Flying Kicks hotline. Please leave your voice message story after the tone.
G'day, I'm ringing up from Sydney in Australia. Over here, when you throw your shoes over a telephone wire, it sort of means you've lost your virginity. So when some kid pops his cherry, he throws sneakers up on the telephone wire to sort of celebrate that.
Perhaps it's a bullying tactic. Now I like this opinion. A bully gets his hands on the wimp's shoes. He takes the guy's shoes, and if he's smart enough to know how, he ties the shoelaces together. Bullies aren't usually that smart. And throws them onto the nearest power line so that the wimp has to walk home without footwear. Apparently just punching the guy's lights out, not enough.
Hola, estoy llamando desde España. Aquí los pandilleros usan zapatillas que cuelgan sobre los alambres como una señal a la policía para no meterse en aquella calle o aquel barrio. Es como un acuerdo de señoritos entre las autoridades y las bandas criminales.
Probably the most common is tying it to drug dealing in an area, or saying that the shoes are hanging outside of a crack house. But how that exactly works, I've never been able to quite figure out. It's not like you can see a pair of shoes hanging in the power line and then go knock on a door of a house, because I think Pops could probably figure that out too.
if you were in New York, particularly in Brooklyn, and you saw, say, a purple sneaker, purple was associated with the Decepticons. Their gang colors were purple and gold. So if you were in Brooklyn and you saw a purple and gold Puma Clyde, you knew you were in Decepticon territory.
One time I went in there in my own neighborhood, and I saw a bunch of Cortezes lined up in the middle of the neighborhood. So that was really interesting, and I asked one of the Mexican dudes, why are all those Cortez bunched up? And he basically told me all those Cortez belonged to deceased gang members who those shoes were taken off them when they got shot. And you see some of the shoes actually stained up with blood. And I'm like, so that's all the people you guys lost in this neighborhood. And that's a way to remember them by throwing up their shoes.
It's done as far as a signature. We do it as signature moves. Like graffiti, like if you want to graffiti something up, instead of writing graffiti, you do it with your sneakers. You throw your sneakers on top of a power line to know that you were there and maybe you accomplished something in the neighborhood.
I invented the term shoefeety to describe shoes hanging on power lines just by, merging together shoes with graffiti. The term just kind of connected with people. I see people tagging pictures on Flickr with the term now and talking about it on their blogs. It's on Wikipedia now. It's shoes that kind of end up having a similar kind of impression on people that graffiti has in neighborhoods, where when you see shoes hanging over power lines, it's something where it's somewhat mysterious. People don't know exactly why it's there. Sometimes people view it as something that has like a negative connotation about the neighborhood. So in some ways, it has a lot of parallels with graffiti.
As a connoisseur of graffiti all around the world, I am so upset with shoefeety. Shoefeety is total bullshit. How can you compare throwing shoes on a line to art?
So we made stickers and posters and stuff that we actually put out on the street. That was kind of what was cool at the time. So, but we noticed that stickers were everywhere, stencils were everywhere. So in kind of a quest to create a new media space, you know, since we're from New York and there's sneakers everywhere, that was just kind of like a sort of a new art form. We didn't invent throwing sneakers up. We just reinvented throwing sneakers up. When I'm talking about sneakers, I'm actually talking about Skewville wooden sneakers, which were silk-screened editions that were on wood. So it kind of became like a thing where wherever we would travel to, we would make like an edition of sneakers. Like my brother went to South Africa, he brought them London, we went to Amsterdam. We've tossed probably close to 5,000 pairs all over the world, and more than half of them are in New York.
It's all about next levelism.
In the beginning, when we were throwing up sneakers, people would clap, because it's like, it's kind of almost like a performance art.
I have noticed that some people will use the shoes hanging from wires images to associate with urban decay and to sort of depict a scene of urban desolation or something that's falling apart or not right in some way. And I think that's understandable. They're definitely an inversion of the normal order. Once again, we have something that's meant to be on the ground, and now it's just hanging in the sky from a utility line. How can that be? What well-kept city would allow that?
We're going over to the intersection here because there's some shoes up on a power line. And when I was driving by with Julie...
Oh, that's up close and personal.
And she said that was a sign of gangs. And I thought, well, I want that down.
Yeah, City of Minneapolis Shoe Patrol.
Yeah.
Undercover. Undercover.
There's the shoes.
Where's the shoes?
Look,
oh, yeah, we can reach that easy.
Yeah, exactly. Here, give me something to... Yeah, right.
The mission to change things was, how can we remove the stigma from North Minneapolis that this is a horrible place to live in?
That's the impression I get when I see shoes up, is that people think they can do whatever they feel like, and there's no recognition of law or decency. It bothers me that nobody cares enough about the neighborhood. Either call Xcel Energy or get the shoes down themselves.
You guys weren't looking for your shoes, were ya?
Typically where I see shoes hanging up on the wire, there's a lot of gangs that hang up. Frankly, I'd rather shoes than bullets in the window, but at the same time, why do we have to put up with something that looks like you live in a dump?
To me, a blog and the web seem like a great medium to use for talking about this, because it's the kind of thing people have a lot of questions about, and they take their questions and they type them into Google, whatever those questions are, whether people have a health concern, or if they're trying to figure out what the heck is going on with shoes hanging on a power line in their neighborhood, they go to Google and they type in a question there. I started a blog, shoefeedy.com, and with this site, all I decided to do was to try to aggregate all the different ways that people are talking about shoes hanging from power lines online, kind of roll that stuff up and say, oh, well, over in Poland, they're saying this. In Australia, they're saying this. In Japan, they're saying this. In Vancouver, they're saying this. Yeah, it's definitely a worldwide phenomenon.
A meme's really just a word for an idea that spreads socially. And we might also call them fads. We might call them trends. But really, a meme is this kind of idea that can travel from entity to entity. And some people believe that memes actually use us to propagate themselves, much in the same way that a biological organism will use its environment and its abilities to promote its own genes. The internet doesn't care about its accuracy. It doesn't care about truth. It just cares that the idea spreads. And in that sense, I think that the internet's a very powerful ally of a meme that's looking to spread. People do it because they see it done, and they see it done because someone else has done it before them.
It's like throwing a pencil in a foam core ceiling. The fact that you could just get it there, and then maybe some guy will be like, well, damn, how the hell did that pencil get there? Just the fact that he paid it attention, it's like, ha, I made you look. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hang 2 shoes around there. The staff members who just work around here, and these are the restaurants over here. Like when they leave the restaurant or job or they're going to somewhere else, they just hang their shoes over there for just a memory and just to take a picture.
From time to time, someone will take a pair of just beat sneakers and say, you know what, I had nothing to do with them. I'm not going to donate them to charity. I'm not going to throw them in the trash. I'm just going to tie them together. I'm going to toss them up there. Every day as I'm walking by and I look up and see those sneakers, I can think of all the memories I had while wearing them.
The sneakers, the Tims that are up there now, those was mine. I threw those up there in 91.
Real talk, the sneakers?
Real talk.
91?
Yeah.
And what year is it today?
Well, in 2009.
2009. So you mean to tell me?
August 1st, 2009. Well, it's a boost of confidence knowing that where I was at in 91 and where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So I can look back and say, when I had them boots on, I was hustling, I was in the game. And now I'm doing it, but I'm doing it legitimately.
I guess that's the oldest question of all, isn't it? Why we search for meaning and why we must leave our mark. It is connected to memory, a kind of communal, long-lasting memory, as if we live on through memory. And if you think in a certain sense, it's absolutely true. Just the fact that you leave a writing on a wall or that you leave a shoe somewhere, you have proven to yourself that you exist. What an interesting feature of humanity. Even though it's kind of an illusion, isn't it? Unless you're a great artist that leaves your name in your works, we do disappear from communal memory. What a tragedy our condition is, isn't it?
It may be one of those things that it just rings differently for so many people that there never will be one solid definition.
You probably will talk to 200 people, and you're going to get 200 different answers, but no one's really going to know.
It's like a black hole of social interaction. There's a bit of information that goes in there that never comes back out. Maybe someday I'll find out if I actually throw my own pair up. I'll know why at least.
What it is, man, it's your girl Kim B signing in. First and foremost, I gotta give a big shout out to the whole Flying Kicks crew and the boy Matt for showing me and my music a whole lot of love. But before we get out of here, I'm gonna give y'all a little something, man. Y'all check this out. Kim B back going hard and I know y'all ready. See, I'm all about my sneakers, so the topic shoe fetid. Tie the things up, strings hang like spaghetti. Toss them on the phone while you take aim, get steady. They could be for dope slanging, territory claiming. Cortez colors for those who gang banging. Lost ones remain nameless, but still remain famous. Cause we think of you when we see your sneakers hanging. What's the real background? A joke for those who act clown. Try to take your boy's sneakers, toss them, get a beat down. Every time you peek round, sneakers lead the street ground. If you see the wooden kicks, Q-Bill's been around. I think they toss them for their enemies or memories, but I can guess until infinity, and that's the theme. I'm like, what does it mean? I'll let you take a pick, and then we'll figure out the mystery of flying kicks.